Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel, and welcome to the real review of the Rocket 3R. So when my buddy went out and bought a brand new Rocket 3R, I couldn't resist the opportunity to take it for a ride. What a beast of a bike. 2,500cc, 165 brake horsepower and 221 newton meters of torque. No wonder they've called this the Rocket 3R. Right, so this is the 2021 edition. The difference between this one and the 2022 is only the colour change. So this bike is registered 2022. It's the red Triumph inline 3-cylinder water-cooled 2,458cc with 165 brake horsepower and 221 newtons of torque at 4,000 RPM. So the dry weight on this is 291. It's definitely coming in at the heavyweight. 18 litre tank capacity, and we've got a top speed of 140 mile an hour, 0 to 60 in 2.7 seconds. And I can't believe these bikes have been out really since 2004. I mean, it didn't seem 5 minutes ago when I saw the first one out on the street, and here we are sort of 18 years later, and this is what we've got. What a fantastic looking machine. So the frame's aluminium. We've got a single-sided cast aluminium swing arm, which I'm a great fan of. I love the look of it when you've got the whole wheel exposed. The front wheel, we've got a 17-inch. The rear wheel, we've got a 16-inch. Tyre sizes on the front, we've got a 150/80/17 and a huge, humongous 240/50/16 in the rear. I mean, just look at that size of that tyre, guys. It's absolutely monstrous. And we're going to need some stopping power on this Rocket 3R. We've got 320mm dual discs, and we've got the Stylema Brembo calipers. So on the rear, we've got a 300mm disc with a Brembo monoblock caliper. So there's only one thing left to do. So sit back, relax, and come along for the ride. Right guys, so yeah, here we go. I'm looking forward to this. It's a keyless bike. And there we go, Rocket 3. And my friend's called Stuart, he even says his name on there. Got to remember to pull the clutch in. Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, that sounds like a right beast. Well, let's face it, that's why they've called it the Rocket 3. Okay, so yeah, let's just go for a little ride and see what this thing's like. Yeah, I mean, as soon as you get on it, that engine just is like thumping. I mean, it's an inline 3. You wouldn't think that. It's just I mean, you've basically got 3 huge pistons that are like, I think there's something like 110 or 111 sort of bore on these things. So yeah, it's not that warm today. If it looks a bit horrible out, that's probably because it is. I'm not sure what the temperature. Well, it's saying 16 degrees. It's just grey, which I guess you've got to start expecting sort of this time of the year. So this bike's also had the optional quick shifter put on, which I always like the quick shifters. You get so used to them on the newer bikes, it's horrible when you've not got one on. I mean, so far, I've got to say, I've only been like a couple of 100 yards on it, and it's comfortable. You sort of really do sit into the seat. It kind of hugs you. So one thing about this bike is the seat height is quite low, so you know, for me, I've got my feet planted. I'm not the tallest person in the world at 5'9", but you certainly feel secure on it. I think maybe people would be put off by the size of the engine, but it's you know, all that weight's low down. You can't help but just love the styling on these bikes. It's just a big muscle cruiser bike, retro looking with the modern technology on it. It certainly feels different to what I've ever ridden. But it's like, you know, I'm at sort of 30 miles an hour in 4th gear, and it's just so smooth. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to opening it up. We'll try and find a little bit of road where we can sort of give it the beans. It does feel like a big bike without a shadow of a doubt. I think that huge back wheel certainly gives it some balance. But all in all, you know, just sort of like just flicking it at this speed, it feels very controllable. It doesn't feel like a big cruiser. I mean, it sounds nice as well. You know, I know all these bikes are Euro 5 compliant now, and they're getting quieter and quieter, but sort of generally, you know, there's not a lot we can do about that one. But I wouldn't say you'd want to like upgrade the exhaust on this. This sounds absolutely fine. Yeah, I mean, it's a very relaxed position. I mean, my legs are slotted in nicely on the tank as well. The tank looks absolutely massive. I'm surprised it doesn't hold more fuel. So I'm just in 4th gear at the minute, and we're just cruising along, getting a lot of wind. I mean, it's not a windy day. I think if you're going to perhaps do a bit of touring on this, you might want to get a screen on. Let's see what it can do. Now that's quick. I mean, I was just sort of like 4th gear there, just opening the throttle up. That quick shifter's nice as well. Let's see what it's like on these bends. This is a fun bike. Let's have a little brake test there. Yeah, I mean the brakes work well, as they always do. For me, you don't get any better than Brembo's. Quite surprised how good the back brake is as well on this. Yeah, when you just like bang both the brakes on, the bike just wants to come to a stop, which is quite surprising. 291 kilos. I mean, I've got the Multistrada V4. I have stuck that on the track, and that's got some you know, some decent brakes on that, but this feels better. Yeah, I'm really quite surprised actually. It's pretty nimble for a big bike, you know. I've ridden 1 or 2 sort of cruisers, mainly when I've been abroad, and you know, the one thing they can't do is turn. This can turn. So yeah, the suspension's quite hard. I'd say that's probably, it's a kind of negative, but not, because I don't think you'd want it soft on this bike, because you just won't have any control over it. So yeah, as I'm bouncing around these lanes, I can feel my stomach going up into my throat, and but you know what, I don't mind that. I mean, all the suspension's adjustable. Whoa, traction control kicked in then. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty responsive, that is. That I don't think you need to use any other gears really than the higher ones. It just absolutely pulls like a train. Yeah, I've got to say, it is a lovely looking bike. I know my friend's done a few little trick bits to it, shall we say. He's carbon wrapped this front, and he's this was all sort of chromed before, so he's done that in a satin black, and he's also put the black lettering on the side of the tank there, which I think actually looks better than the silver. So he's made some good decisions there. Also, he's done this in a carbon wrap, as well as the petrol cap and all these little bits here that was initially silver. So yeah, I mean, what do you think, guys? I mean, what a cracking looking bike. And I believe he saved a couple of grand on this one just because it's the 2021. I mean, bear in mind the spec and everything is exactly the same as the 2022. So you know, if you want this colour in the bike, then there's some bargains to have. And I must admit, I've always been a fan of the red. I mean, this bike sounds absolutely lovely when you're in the lower gears and you give it the overrun. It just pop, 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 pops and bangs. See if we can do a little turn around. Actually, quite surprising. Nice and easy on the turning circle. So yeah, just backing it up. That's not bad actually. I expected it to feel a little bit more weightier. Let's wait for these cars. Right, so I just had one last test to do, and I thought I'd just take it for a little cruise around the town, just to see what it's like at low speeds. And also I've just picked Amy up and chucked her on the back to see what she thinks about being a pillion on a Rocket 3R. After being on the bike just after a few minutes, what's it like? And she said it's like sitting on a paving slab. So I'm not sure it's the best pillion bike. That back seat does look rock hard. Maybe that'll bed in over time. And I think also the other version, the GT, has a little backrest on it. But again, all in all, I think, you know, with the nature of this bike, you know, I don't think you're going to be doing big long tours on it. It's more of probably a day bike, and it just ticks all the boxes so far, apart from being a pillion, of course. Oh, I can smell food. I'm starving as well. So yeah, I think round town it's very, very easy to ride. I thought it might be a little bit more of a challenge, trying to navigate some of the corners, like you feel like you need to swing out to tip it in, and that's not the case, to be honest. I sort of ride this as well as I do any other bike. I mean, the bar end mirrors work really well. There was no vibration through them. I also think the dash is set out nice. Can also change the theme of the screen to look like an old watch. You can change the brightness. You've got all the electronics there for your different mode settings and your traction controls. I mean, you've also got things like your hill hold as well. So the other thing with this bike as well, it's shaft driven, so you've got no chain maintenance there. I'd definitely say get one of these quick shifters on. Works really nice and smooth. I've got to say, I've had a fantastic time on this Rocket 3R. Would I buy one? Yeah, I'd like to have one in my collection. I mean, they're an absolute fantastic bike to ride. It was quite interesting from how heavy they are to how flickable they are through the corners. The brakes are absolutely superb. This thing just stops. The back brake works really well, which you know, you do have to use on these big heavy bikes, but you know, I have got no problems with this bringing it to a stop. I've got Amy on the back. We've had a little ride around the towns. Definitely works well at low speed. It's not sort of juddery or it just runs as sweet as a nut. I'm not sure she found it so good on the back. How would you find it as a pillion on the back of this bike?
Awful.
For what reason?
It's just hard. The seat's too small. It has a strap going over it that you sat on.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look the comfiest, but I'll be honest, for a passenger, it's not the best. For the rider, that seat is absolutely super comfy. Maybe the other version of this, the GT version, it's got the backrest as well. I'm not sure if there's any optional extras to change the rear seat if you're going to take a pillion out, but maybe you're not going to do too many miles on it. I kind of like the way these sort of foot pegs just fold up though. These are really neat how they just fit flush into the bike. I mean, you wouldn't even know there's actually a peg there, to be honest. I mean, look how cool that is. That's pretty neat how they've done that. Power wise, well, there's more than enough power. You don't need any more. It's absolutely phenomenal, the torque on this thing. Pretty much in every gear, it just pulls like a goddamn train. The only thing I found when I was riding it is you're just going to get too throttle happy all the time. But if you're interested in a big muscle bike, then I could highly recommend this Rocket 3R. Amazing bike. So hope you like the video, guys. If you've not subscribed to the channel, then please do so. Give us a like and we'll see you in the next one.